Hi guys, Mother Trucker here. My lighting is weird because it's almost midnight. And today is August 10th or something like that. I lose track of my days after a while. I probably should have this. There's a reason why I'm holding this. It's because I just moved trucks, but that's a whole nother long story. Things haven't been so great for me in the last few weeks. I had a really short paycheck. I've had a lot of issues with live loads. And just for clarification, there's two different ways that you can get a load. One is considered a live load. And what that means is that you get, you back into a dock and you sit in your truck with your trailer back to the dock waiting for them to load it up. And some companies can do that in 15 minutes and some take 2 hours or longer. If you're there longer than 2 hours, they'll give you what they call detention pay, which is $13 an hour. But they're very strict about it. You have to make sure you were there on time, and you have to have your times in and out on your bill of lading. Well, some of the ones that I've been detained at for a long time lately, I've been late to, not because of my own fault, but because the truck broke down. It was a small breakdown. I had a brake chamber blowout while I was trying to back up, and I got stuck at a dead end, and I mean, it all turned out fine, but then when you go sit for a couple hours or three and a half hours, you're basically wasting your time, and it's not even because of your own fault, But anyways, I'm kind of rambly because I'm a little sleepy, so I apologize, but I'm going to try to be quick about this one. It might be long, but I'm going to try to be quick and not ramble. Anyways, I had some stuff that was going on that was keeping paychecks from rolling in like I wanted them to, and like I said, delays at shippers and receivers, and chasing. Sometimes they'll want you to go get an empty trailer before you go to a shipper because you don't have one. Like the other day, I dropped off at a Family Dollar distribution center, and they hadn't had a total driver in months, so they didn't have any empties. So then on my next one, I was supposed to go to Rubbermaid to pick up a load, and I didn't have an empty, so they told me to go to Home Depot for an empty. Well, I waited in line at Home Depot for like 2 hours just to go inside their lot and check to see if they had empties. It was kind of a fucking mess. So, and I've been on the road for like 3 weeks I haven't done laundry, or I hadn't done laundry. And so I told them, I said, look, I'm about out of hours. I said, can you route me? I had 7 hours left. I said, can you route me to a terminal where I can take a 34 and do laundry? So they decided to route me to Loudon, which is my home terminal. And they don't even have hot water in the showers. Actually, they do now. But for 2 months, they've not had hot water in the showers. So, sorry, I just realized you probably can hear that radio in the background. My car's right there. I'm like, I'm going to go home. But because I spent so long waiting, I waited 2 hours for them to tell me where to go get an empty. And then I waited 2 hours at Home Depot. And then I waited like 3.5 hours for them to load my trailer. So I had started at like 2 o'clock that afternoon, and it was 8 o'clock before I was loaded and ready to roll. And I was supposed to be in Loudon by midnight. So I had enough hours barely to drive it anyways. So I drove it. When I got there, on my it's a 14-hour clock, which basically is you can only be up or whatever, go without a break every 14 hours. So 10 hours you sleep, 10 hours you're off. You can sleep during that time if you want. They assume that you're going to take 8 hours. And then I guess you have 2 hours to, that's when you're supposed to take your shower and whatnot. And then in 14 hours from the time you first start your shift, then you have to go back onto a 10-hour shift. A 10-hour reset, what they call it. Anyways, so on my 14-hour clock, I had I can't remember. I think it was 5 hours and some minutes. And the clock said that it was going to take me 5 hours and 3 minutes less than the time I had. Well, I drove like a madman, and I didn't even stop once. Even though towards the end I had to pee. I didn't want to stop. So when I got to Loudon, I had 1 minute left on my clock. Well, so it's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm I could drive home, and it'll be warm there because I'm sure Sonny didn't turn down the thermostat for me. Or I could sleep in the truck and go tomorrow, head to the house tomorrow to do laundry and whatnot. And I had the idea that on my way I was going to go by Subway and see Carrie, but that didn't happen. So when I get up, I have an assignment. I have a pre-assignment, and I had a message and a missed call, even though I'd only been on my 10-hour break for 7 hours. I had a missed call and a message from my fleet manager to call him. Well, it turns out that the truck that I had, which was a 2015, it was at 469,000 miles, and they're supposed to retire them, I thought, at 475,000, but I don't know. For some reason, they decided to go ahead and retire it. So they put me in this 2016 truck, which has 467,000 miles on it. And they expect me to move over my 14-hour break. And this is not just pack up a bag. I mean, this is bags of stuff. I have stuff in all the little cubbies. I have food. I have clothes. I have a potty. I have a refrigerator. I have a microwave. And you have to take it down the steps of this truck and then up the steps of the other truck. And I was pretty pissed. So I wound up today. I called my fleet manager about it, and I was like, look, this is ridiculous. I haven't had a 34-hour reset in 3 weeks, and I really just needed some time to just rest and do my laundry, and now I'm having to move trucks, and I said, and this truck only has 2,000 fewer miles than the other truck. I said, am I going to have to move again in a month? Actually, 2,000 miles that would be less than a month. That should be less than a week. He's like, well, I tell you what. So, I don't know. Long story short, I'm going to Memphis to get a 2019 truck. And that's supposed to make up that and $100. It's supposed to make up for what happened to me. Which, I'm kind of excited about the 2019 truck. For one, it'll be new. Nobody, maybe somebody's driven it, but not for very long. It has better, some of the storage is going to be better for me anyways, because you see my fridge, there's my fridge right there, and in the new 19s, see that cabinet right there, it's only 16 inches wide. So unless you get a little tiny narrow coolers that they like, electric coolers, which is not the same as a fridge, it only cools it to 40 degrees cooler than the temperature inside the cabin. So if you have to turn off your truck and leave it to do something, then if you have milk, it'll go bad. If you have anything frozen, it'll go bad, you know. So anyways, I have a fridge, and the other one has no cabinet there. It's open area, so I can put my fridge there, my coffee pot on top of it, and then it has a little rack for a microwave. And right now my microwave is up here on the top bunk. You can't see it because I put it behind those boxes, but it's back there. So it'll be a rearrangement of sorts, and I'm kind of excited about that, but I've heard that there's problems with the 2019s. And I talked to a guy today at the terminal in Loudon, and he said you have less storage space. But I don't even use everything I have, really. You know, maybe over time, but I'm still sort of at the beginning stages. It kind of sucked because I just had that 2015, you know, where I wanted it, and I was at a point where I was like, you know, maybe I could start adding some things. I want to do things like cooking. There's a lot of people that cook. I keep saying because it just flashed at me that my battery's dying. Alright, so I'm at 12 minutes and I'm plugging it in. Okay, so one of the other questions I had that I was going to talk about kind of ties in with what I was just talking about, is what do I eat on the road? When I was in training, I pretty much ate at the truck stops, which I will tell you, McDonald's, Subway, Wendy's, sometimes you'll see Chester Chicken, which is kind of like a KFC, I guess. Sometimes a Taco Bell. Pilot has a fresh, I don't know what they call it, but they have freshly cooked pizzas, like a hot bar, and they'll have pizzas and wings and stuff like that. Pretty much that's it. That's what I ate for 4 weeks. Then I got on my own truck, and, well, actually that was kind of expensive, so me and Steven did try to eat more in the truck. He had a fridge. He had a bigger fridge than I do. But a lot of that stuff that you know, like hot dogs and lunch meat and bread, and so I've been sort of like adding to it as I think of things. And most of it's really junk food right now, but I would like to get to a better place. I have Pop-Tarts, and I found those little cups of like oatmeal and hot cereal and stuff, and I'm going to start eating those more. And you can get fruit. You can get the fruit cups 2 for $5. It's kind of expensive at the truck stop, but I think it'd be worth it. Or sometimes you can get, you know, the fresh fruit, like the bananas, apples, and oranges. Those are like 2 for $1 or something. I always keep turkey and cheese and mayonnaise and bread. Right now I have a half a can of Spam opened in there. I like to take Spam and slice it and cube it up into little cubes and put it into a cup. Like I have the not pre-made, but the cups of macaroni and cheese. that you put in the microwave for 3 minutes, and then you add the powder and stir it up. And then after I do that, I heat up the Spam chunks in the microwave and put them, if I was home, I would fry them up a little bit because they're so much better fried up. But so I heat them up in the microwave and then put them in the mac and cheese. I also have canned chicken that I'll put in. Sometimes I'll just make a chicken sandwich, like a chicken sandwich with mayonnaise or mustard. I just snatch mustard packets at the Pilot or the Loves. Chicken sandwich. I have this like rice-a-roni cup, like the macaroni, that you add. You can add water and put it in the microwave. And I figured I could just add a can of chicken to that. I don't know. I got some stuff like cup of noodle stuff. I'll be honest with you, I haven't eaten much of this yet. Also, like canned ravioli. I love the Chef Boyardee canned lasagna. I mean, I love lasagna, and that's not the best lasagna, but I like it better than the ravioli. Anyways, I do ravioli. Lately, I've been, for the most part, I'll eat like breakfast and lunch, or I'll eat 2 meals in the truck, and then I'll let myself eat something on the road. Most of the time, that's fast food. I've been trying to, I don't know, since my last home time, I've been kind of like, it's okay for me to park and go eat somewhere. So sometimes Denny's, because it's right at, it just depends. I'm working on getting a little more brave with going outside of the box kind of thing. Most of the TAs and Petros have a Country Pride sit-down restaurant attached. If I have time, sometimes I'll do that, but most of the time, actually the couple times I've been there, I think I got something to go. It's hard because, you have a time-sensitive load a lot of times. And when I get up in the morning, I like to just kind of sit and have coffee and vape and play on my phone. So then I wind up being like where I have to rush through the day. But that's just what I prefer. Like I've tried, and I can do it, but I don't like doing it. I can get up and make a cup of coffee and start rolling if I have to, and I have, and I will. But if I don't have to, then that's the time I take for me. But I'm part of this group on Facebook called Big Truck Cooking, and those people cook everything. And some of the things that they have are crock pots, which if you go to the truck stop and look around, you'd be surprised at the stuff. Because most trucks just have the 12 volt, like the car charger for your phone. So you have to either get 12 volt appliances, or you have to, like I do have a power inverter that only has 2 plugs on it. So I have my fridge on it, and then I put my coffee pot on it, and then when I use the microwave, I unplug the coffee pot. And you can't overuse it because it has a fuse in it, kind of thing. But you can get a crock pot that's 12 volt, and they have this 12 volt. It looks like the old style lunchbox. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. Gosh, I remember my dad having them years ago. It's like brown, and it's long. It's like long, and then in the top it bends over and opens up, and in the bottom there's like the little. Back in the day of when we had to carry lunch, the metal lunch boxes at school, what our dads had was this metal one, this blue, brown plastic thing that kind of looks like a barn or I don't know. Anyways, they have a lunchbox oven, and it has these little foil things that go down in it, so you can cook all sorts of stuff in that. I saw just today where somebody was like, how long do I cook boiled eggs in the lunchbox oven? So you can just put a little water down there and cook your eggs. And well, actually I guess you wouldn't have to put water, because I saw where you can put eggs in the oven and they come out looking boiled, right? Anyways, I thought, I could throw some chicken down in there. I don't know. I do crave, I would probably have a lot of chicken. Occasionally, steak or pork. Sometimes a hamburger maybe. Or a George Foreman grill, which I think I have a George Foreman grill somewhere. I don't know. I think I do have one at home. And I've lost a lot of stuff lately between my storage in North Carolina and, over in Johnson City. I lost that. And then I left some stuff at Erica's when I left there, because I wasn't really anticipating ever needing it again. So, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what one thing I would use the most. If I want a crock pot or a lunchbox oven, or maybe an electric skillet. Anyways, I think one of those three things I would like to start with and start adding to my... So I'm always looking for like recipes, especially just for one person, if I had some chicken and some rice, or some people do, I've seen them where they'll do the instant mashed potatoes and steak and, like green beans, or, some sort of vegetable, like a full-on meal. And it's easier when there's a team and there's like one person driving and one person cooking. But I think in the fall I'm definitely going to want a crock pot, because then I could, especially if I got the 12-volt one and it could cook while I was driving, it probably straps down too. So it wouldn't fall over, like a big regular crock pot is going to be hard to store, but the little 12-volt crock pot would probably be perfect. Anyways, I've kind of rambled, but I tried to talk about things that have happened to me lately, and two, the question about what I eat. So I hope I answered that, and I'm going to go because this is 23 minutes long, and I'm sorry to bore you guys, but I love y'all, and I hope y'all have a good night. Bye.